The video call connected at 11 p.m. on a Thursday. My daughter Sage's face filled the screen, but she looked different, thinner. Her eyes had a strange brightness to them, the kind that comes from either profound joy or complete exhaustion. I couldn't tell which. "Mom, I need to tell you something important," she said, her voice unnaturally calm. "I found my purpose, my real purpose." I set down the glass of wine I'd been drinking. "Sage, it's late. Are you okay? Where are you?" "I'm exactly where I'm supposed to be, at the sanctuary with Aunt Holly in the community. Mom, everything you've taught me, everything society has taught me, it's all been designed to keep me small, to keep me from my true potential." My blood ran cold. The sanctuary, Holly's spiritual retreat center that she'd been living at for the past 8 months, the place she kept inviting us to visit, but could never quite explain what they actually did there. "Sage, what are you talking about? You're supposed to be at Emily's house studying for finals." "I was, but then Aunt Holly came to get me. She explained everything, Mom, about the programming, about the corporate machine, about how we've all been lied to. And I want you to understand too. That's why I'm calling. Sage, I need you to come home right now." "I can't do that. Not yet. Not until you understand. I'm sending you something, a video that will explain everything. Just watch it with an open heart, okay? Can you do that for me?" "Sage, I love you, Mom, but I love myself more now. For the first time in my life, I truly love myself, and soon you'll understand why." The call ended. I immediately tried calling back. It went straight to voicemail. My hand shook as I checked my email. There it was, a video link from Sage's account. The subject line read, "The truth will set you free." I clicked it. A man appeared on screen, maybe 45, handsome in that ageless way some people have, with kind eyes and a gentle smile. Behind him was a simple room with white walls and soft lighting. "Welcome, seeker. My name is Marcus, and I'm so glad you found your way to this message. If you're watching this, someone you love has discovered the sanctuary, and they want to share this gift with you. I know you're probably afraid right now, confused, maybe even angry. Those are all normal reactions to the unknown. But I invite you to approach this with curiosity rather than fear. What if everything you've been taught about happiness, success, and purpose has been designed to keep you trapped? What if there's a different way, a better way?" I closed the video and called my son Lucas. He was a sophomore at the state university, 2 hours away. He didn't answer. I texted, "Call me immediately. It's about Sage and Aunt Holly." 3 minutes later, my phone rang, but it wasn't Lucas. It was my sister Holly. "Annie, I know you're worried, but I need you to trust me. Sage is safe. She's happier than she's ever been. And Lucas is here too. He drove down tonight to see what we were all about. They're both exactly where they need to be." "What?" I couldn't breathe. "Lucas is there? Holly, what the hell is going on? What is this place?" "It's hard to explain over the phone. Why don't you come visit? See for yourself. We have a family orientation session this Saturday. You could meet Marcus, see the community, understand what we're building here. I want my kids home. Now." "They're not kids anymore, Annie. Sage is 18, Lucas is 19. They're adults making adult choices. And honestly, maybe it's time you respected that. Respected that my sister has recruited my children into some kind of—" "What, Holly? What is this? A commune? A cult?" Her laugh was soft, pitying. "You've always been so quick to judge what you don't understand. The sanctuary isn't a cult, Annie. It's a community of awakened individuals who've chosen to live authentically. No one here is brainwashed. We're just finally thinking for ourselves." "Then why won't Sage come home?" "Because she doesn't want to. Because for the first time in her life, she's not living for your approval or society's expectations. She's living for herself. Let me talk to Lucas. He's in a growth session right now. But I'll tell him you called. Annie, please, just come Saturday. See for yourself. What do you have to lose? Everything, I thought. I have everything to lose. I hung up and sat in my kitchen, my mind racing. My sister had always been searching for something. Different spiritual practices, self-help programs, wellness trends. After her divorce 3 years ago, she'd gotten more intense about it. But this? Taking my children to some compound without telling me? I grabbed my laptop and started searching. The Sanctuary Spiritual Community brought up a basic website with vague language about authentic living and consciousness expansion. No red flags exactly, but nothing specific either. I tried the Sanctuary Cult and found a few forum posts. People asking if anyone had heard of it. One person saying their sister had joined and wouldn't speak to family anymore. Another saying it seemed harmless but weird. Then I found a blog post from 6 months ago. A woman whose husband had joined the sanctuary, drained their savings to invest in his growth, and filed for divorce when she refused to join him. She'd lost custody of her kids because the court found her controlling and unwilling to support the father's spiritual journey. My phone buzzed. A text from Sage's number, but the message didn't sound like her. Your children are safe in the loving embrace of the sanctuary family. They're on a journey of profound transformation. You can join them, or you can stand in their way. Choose wisely. The path to awakening begins with surrender. Marcus. Someone else was using my daughter's phone, sending me messages, speaking for her. I called the police. Explained the situation. My 2 adult children had gone to some kind of spiritual retreat with my sister and wouldn't come home. The officer was sympathetic but clear. They were legal adults. Unless I had evidence of a crime, there was nothing they could do. Has anyone been threatened? Are they being held against their will? I don't know. They won't tell me. Ma'am, it sounds like a family disagreement. Maybe give it a few days, let them cool off, then try talking to them again. I hung up feeling helpless and terrified. That's when I made my decision. I wasn't waiting for Saturday. I wasn't going to some orientation session where they'd try to manipulate me the way they'd clearly manipulated my children. I was going to the sanctuary tonight. I was getting my kids out, and I was bringing my sister home whether she wanted to come or not. I had no idea that by morning, one of us would be dead, and the police would be questioning whether I was a desperate mother trying to save my family or a dangerous woman who'd committed murder.
Holly was always the wild one. Growing up, she was the sister who snuck out at night, who tried every new thing first, who believed in magic and possibilities, while I believed in practicality and plans. I loved her for it, even when it drove me crazy. We were only 18 months apart. Irish twins, people called us. We looked alike too, both tall with dark hair and our mother's green eyes. But where I'd gone to college, gotten married young, had kids by 25, Holly had traveled, waitressed in Colorado, taught yoga in Thailand, followed a band across Europe. She lived a dozen different lives, while I lived one careful, responsible one. I didn't judge her for it. Not really. I envied her freedom sometimes, even as I wouldn't have traded my life for hers. Holly married at 35 to a software developer named Greg. They seemed happy enough, though I always thought Holly treated marriage like another adventure she'd eventually outgrow. They had no kids. Holly said she was too free-spirited for motherhood, and I believed her. My kids adored their Aunt Holly. She was the fun one who sent birthday presents from exotic locations, who taught them meditation and tarot cards, who told them stories about living in ashrams and swimming with dolphins. Sage especially loved her, my sensitive, artistic daughter who never quite fit into traditional school, who struggled with anxiety and always felt like an outsider. Aunt Holly gets me, Sage would say. She understands what it's like to be different. Lucas was more like me, practical, focused, planning to major in engineering, But even he was charmed by Holly's unconventional wisdom, her way of making everything seem like a grand adventure. 3 years ago, Holly's marriage fell apart. He caught Greg having an affair with a coworker. The divorce was ugly, no kids to fight over, but plenty of assets to divide. Holly got the house, some savings, and what she called her freedom settlement. That's when things started to change. Holly had always been into wellness, yoga, meditation, organic food, but after the divorce, it intensified. She got certified as a life coach, started attending seminars about consciousness expansion and authentic living. She'd call me at midnight, excited about some new revelation she'd had about the nature of reality or the power of intention. "Annie, you have to read this book. It'll change your life." "Annie, I just did this breathwork session and I had a complete emotional breakthrough." "Annie, I'm finally understanding why I attracted Greg's betrayal. It was the universe forcing me to let go of small thinking." I listened, supportive but skeptical. This was Holly being Holly, diving deep into the latest thing, certain this was the answer she'd been searching for. Then about 10 months ago, she called with news. She was moving to something called the Sanctuary. It's an intentional community about 2 hours north of you. We're creating a new way of living, conscious, connected, free from the programming that keeps most people trapped. What kind of programming? Corporate capitalism, consumerism, the nuclear family structure, all the systems designed to keep us isolated and afraid. Annie, we're building something beautiful, a place where people can actually be themselves without society's judgment. Holly, this sounds like, don't say cult. Please don't be that person. It's not a cult. It's just people who want to live differently. We have a leader, Marcus, who's incredibly wise and compassionate. He helped me see how I've been living in fear my whole life, making myself small to fit into boxes that were never meant for me. How did you find this place? Through a workshop I attended. Marcus was the facilitator. Annie, when he speaks, it's like he sees right into your soul. He helped me understand that my divorce wasn't a failure, it was liberation. That I spent my whole life seeking external validation when everything I need is already inside me. She sounded so certain, so peaceful. And honestly, after watching her struggle through the divorce, I was glad she'd found something that made her happy. So you're moving there, like living there full time? Yes, we each have small private spaces, but we share common areas and meals. We pool resources, support each other's growth, practice radical honesty and vulnerability. It's amazing, Annie. For the first time in my life, I feel like I'm home. What about your house, your job? I'm selling the house and donating the proceeds to the community. As for work, we don't really believe in traditional employment at the sanctuary. We each contribute according to our gifts. Some people create art, some teach workshops, some maintain the property. We're building a sustainable ecosystem. Red flags were going off in my head. Selling her house? Donating the money? But Holly was an adult. She'd made unconventional choices her whole life. Who was I to tell her this was different? As long as you're happy, I said carefully. I am happier than I've ever been. And Annie, I'd love for you to visit, meet Marcus, see the community. You might be surprised. I said I'd think about it, that I never went. I was busy with work. I managed a small accounting firm and the kids' activities. Lucas was applying to colleges. Sage was struggling at her junior year, her anxiety getting worse despite therapy and medication. Holly visited us a few times over the next months. She looked good, thinner, more energetic, with a kind of glow I couldn't quite place. But there was also something different. She talked in circles sometimes, using phrases that sounded meaningful but didn't quite make sense. I'm learning to hold space for my authentic self. We're practicing conscious co-creation of our reality. I've released my attachment to the illusion of separation. She tried to get me to attend a free introductory workshop at the sanctuary several times. I always had an excuse. Then she started focusing on the kids. Sage, you'd love it at the sanctuary. We have art studios, meditation gardens, and everyone is so accepting. No judgment, no pressure to be anything other than who you are. Sage, who'd been having a particularly hard time socially at school, lit up. Really? That sounds amazing. You should come visit sometime, just for a weekend. See if you like it. I shut that down immediately. Sage has school and college applications coming up. She doesn't have time for weekend trips. Holly gave me a look I couldn't quite read. Pity maybe, or disappointment. Of course, I forgot how scheduled and controlled everything has to be in your world. The comment stung, but I let it go. Over the following months, Holly's visits became less frequent, but her contact with Sage increased. They'd talk on the phone for hours, FaceTime late at night. Holly sent Sage books and crystals and journals with prompts about discovering your true self. Aunt Holly is helping me work through my anxiety. She says it's not a disorder. It's my intuition trying to tell me I'm living out of alignment with my soul's purpose. Sage, you need to keep taking your medication. Medication just numbs the symptoms. Aunt Holly's helping me address the root cause. We fought about it. Sage accused me of being closed-minded. I accused Holly of overstepping boundaries. Holly said I was trying to control Sage instead of supporting her journey. Then, 2 weeks ago, Sage turned 18. Holly sent her a long letter about stepping into her power as an adult, about how she no longer needed anyone's permission to live authentically. And apparently, she'd taken that to heart.
I should have seen it coming. Should have recognized the signs. But I was so focused on managing Sage's anxiety, on making sure Lucas stayed on track for college, on keeping my own life together after my husband Mark and I separated last year, that I missed what was happening right in front of me. Holly wasn't just sharing her spiritual journey with my kids, she was recruiting them. Now, standing in my kitchen at midnight, reading that text from Marcus on Sage's phone, I understood. This wasn't about Holly finding herself. This was about her finding something that gave her purpose by bringing others in. And she'd started with my children. I grabbed my keys, my phone, my jacket. The sanctuary was 2 hours north, in the mountains. I'd never been there, but I knew the general area from Holly's descriptions. My husband Mark called just as I was heading out the door. "Annie, what's going on? Lucas texted me some weird message about finding his truth at some sanctuary. Is this Holly's place?" Mark and I had been separated for a year, heading toward divorce. He'd moved to Seattle for work, leaving me to handle the kids mostly alone. We were civil, but distant. Both kids are there. Holly recruited them. I'm going to get them out. Wait, slow down. What do you mean recruited? It's a cult, Mark, or something close to it. And our children are there. And some guy named Marcus is sending me messages from Sage's phone? Have you called the police? They can't do anything. The kids are adults legally. Annie, if it's actually a cult, you can't just drive up there alone in the middle of the night. That's not safe. So what am I supposed to do? Wait, let them brainwash our kids? Let me fly out. We'll figure this out together. I can be there by tomorrow afternoon. Tomorrow afternoon might be too late. Annie, please, don't do anything rash. If this is a cult, they could be dangerous. You could get hurt. I'm getting my kids back. I don't care what it takes. I hung up on him and got in my car. The drive north was dark and winding. Mountain roads with no streetlights. I had the address from the website, a rural route outside a tiny town called Redmond. Population, maybe 300. I tried calling both kids again. Both phones went to voicemail immediately, like they'd been turned off or taken away. I called Holly. She answered on the first ring. "I knew you'd come tonight. You never could wait, never could trust the process. Where are you, Holly? I'm coming to get you and my kids. We're all exactly where we're supposed to be. Annie, I know you're scared, but that fear is your ego protecting itself from growth. What if you just surrendered to what is? Came tomorrow for the orientation with an open heart? My children are not part of your growth journey or your spiritual experiment. They're coming home. They are home. For the first time, they're actually home. And if you could see them right now, see how peaceful they are, how much they're glowing. Put Sage on the phone. She's sleeping. It's after midnight, Annie. Wake her up. I need to know she's okay. She's more than okay. She's transcendent. My hands tightened on the steering wheel. Holly, I swear to God, God is within you, Annie, within all of us. That's what we're remembering here. We're remembering that we're all divine, all connected, all worthy of love and belonging. Isn't that what you want for your children? To know they're worthy? What I want is for them to come home tonight with me. Then come get them. We're not keeping them prisoner. The gate code is 2244. Drive all the way to the end of the road. The main house is the big white building. I'll be waiting. She hung up. I should have turned around. Should have waited for Mark or called the police again or done something other than drive alone to a compound in the middle of nowhere in the dead of night. But they had my children, and I wasn't leaving without them. I arrived at the gate at 1:30 a.m. It was exactly as Holly described, a simple metal gate across a dirt road, a keypad on the side. I punched in 2244 and the gate swung open. The road wound through dark woods for maybe half a mile before opening into a clearing. And there, lit up like something from a dream, was the sanctuary. The main building was beautiful, I had to admit. A large white farmhouse with wraparound porches, soft lights glowing in every window. Smaller cabins dotted the property around it, all pristine and welcoming. Gardens, even in the March cold. A meditation pavilion with a copper roof catching moonlight. It looked less like a compound and more like an expensive wellness retreat. But it was 1:30 in the morning and every building was lit up. Through the windows of the main house, I could see people moving around. Awake. Active. I parked and got out. The front door opened before I reached it. Holly stood there, backlit, wearing white linen pants and a flowing top. She looked ethereal, almost angelic, and she was smiling. Welcome to the sanctuary, Annie. Where are my kids? Inside. They're fine. Everyone's fine. She stepped aside. Come in. I walked into a large open room that might have once been a formal living and dining area, but now set up like a communal space. Cushions on the floor in circles, low tables, candles everywhere, and people, maybe 20 of them, sitting in small groups, talking quietly, drinking tea. They all looked up when I entered, all smiled, all looked, somehow, the same. Peaceful, glowing, like they shared a secret. Everyone, this is my sister Annie. She's come to visit. Let's welcome her with love. Welcome, Annie. The synchronized response made my skin crawl. I'm not here to visit. I'm here for Sage and Lucas. They're in the main meditation room, Holly said, gesturing down a hallway. But Annie, before you go charging in there, I need you to understand something. They're in the middle of a breakthrough session. Interrupting it could be harmful to their process. Their process? Holly, they're teenagers. They're adults, and they're doing deep work. The kind of healing work you've never been willing to do yourself. A man emerged from the hallway, the same one from the video. Up close, he was even more striking. Tall with silver-threaded hair and eyes that seemed to look right through you. Annie, I'm so glad you've come. His voice was exactly as I remembered. Measured, soothing, hypnotic. I want to see them, now. Of course. But first, let me assure you, they're safe, they're happy, and they're here by choice. No one at the sanctuary is held against their will. We're not a prison. We're a family. You're using my daughter's phone to send me messages? That's not what family does. Sage asked me to contact you. She wanted you to receive the message, but wasn't ready to engage with your energy directly. She's protecting her newfound peace. Her energy? What kind of manipulative... Annie? Holly touched my arm. Take a breath. You're vibrating at a very low frequency right now. Fear, anger, judgment. Can you feel how heavy it is? How it's weighing you down? I jerked my arm away. Don't touch me, and don't talk to me like I'm one of your... whatever this is.
Marcus smiled gently, like I was a child throwing a tantrum. I understand. This is a lot to process. Your world is being challenged. But I promise you, if you approach this with curiosity instead of fear, you might be surprised by what you discover. The only thing I'm discovering is that my sister has joined a cult and convinced my kids to do the same. Several people in the room made soft, pitying sounds. One woman said, "She's still asleep. Be patient with her." "I'm standing right here," I said. "Don't talk about me like I'm not present." "But you're not," Marcus said. "Not really. You're living in your mind, in your fears and stories, instead of being present to this moment. Your children are learning to be present. It's beautiful to witness." "Take me to them." Marcus studied me for a long moment, then nodded. "Holly, why don't you bring Annie to the meditation room? But Annie, I need you to agree to something first. You'll observe only. You won't interrupt, won't try to remove them, won't bring your fear energy into their sacred space. Can you agree to that?" "No, I'm their mother. I'll do whatever I need to do." "Then I can't allow you to see them. I have to protect their process." "You can't keep me from my own children." "I'm not keeping you from them. You're keeping yourself from them with your inability to respect their autonomy." We stared at each other. I could feel the room watching us, waiting to see what I'd do. "Fine," I said. "I'll observe, but then we're leaving. If they want to leave, you're welcome to take them. As I said, no one here is a prisoner." Holly led me down a hallway lined with photographs, people hugging, crying, laughing, all in moments of apparent emotional intensity. At the end was a closed door. Soft music came from inside and low voices. They're doing release work, letting go of old patterns and traumas. It can be intense, but it's incredibly healing. She opened the door. The room was dim, lit only by candles. About a dozen people sat in a circle on cushions. In the center were Sage and Lucas, both with their eyes closed, tears streaming down their faces. A woman was speaking softly. "And now, release it. All the pain, all the programming, all the ways you've been told you're not enough. Let it go. You are divine. You are whole. You are perfect exactly as you are." "I'm not enough," Sage sobbed. "I've never been enough." "That's your mother's voice, not yours. That's the programming. Can you hear it? Can you separate her fear from your truth?" My breath caught. They were using me, using my relationship with Sage as some kind of therapeutic tool. "My mom just wants me to be like everyone else, to fit in, to be normal, to be safe. But I'm not normal. I never have been." "And that's your gift." Marcus's voice came from somewhere in the circle. I hadn't noticed him there in the dim light. "Your sensitivity, your anxiety, it's not a disorder. It's your soul crying out for authenticity, for freedom from the cage of normalcy." "I don't want to go back. I don't want to be who I was. That person was so small, so afraid." Lucas spoke up then. "Same. I've been living my mom's dream, not mine. Engineering school? That's what she wants. But what do I want? I'm finally asking that question." I felt like I'd been slapped. My children, my babies, sitting in a circle of strangers talking about me like I was the enemy, like I'd damaged them instead of loved them. Holly's hand on my shoulder stopped me from speaking. "Just witness," she whispered. "This is their truth. Can you hold space for it?" "This is manipulation," I whispered back. "They're putting words in their mouths." "No one's putting anything anywhere. They're finally free to speak their authentic feelings, feelings you never let them express."
That's not true. Isn't it? Sage tried to tell you she didn't want to take anxiety medication, that she wanted to explore other options. You shut her down. Lucas tried to tell you he wanted to take a gap year, explore different possibilities. You told him it would ruin his future. When have you ever actually listened to what they want? The worst part was, I could hear the truth in it. The times I'd said, I know what's best instead of, tell me more. The times I'd chosen my fear over their autonomy. But this wasn't the answer. This was worse. In the circle, the session was reaching some kind of crescendo. People were hugging Sage and Lucas, welcoming them to the family, telling them how brave they were. Then Marcus stood up and walked directly to where Holly and I were standing in the doorway. Annie, your children have made a choice. They want to stay at the sanctuary, not forever necessarily, but for now, to explore, to heal, to grow. Can you respect that choice? They're being manipulated. They don't understand what this place is. What is this place, Annie? Tell me what you think you see. A cult. A group of people being controlled by a charismatic leader who's convinced them to abandon their families and their lives. Interesting. Because what I see is a community of people who have chosen to live consciously, who support each other's growth, who have rejected the toxic programming of a sick society. No one here is controlled. Everyone is free to leave at any time. In fact, he raised his voice slightly. Who here feels controlled or trapped? Silence. Then laughter. Actual laughter, like I'd said something absurd. We're free for the first time in our lives, someone said. I can leave whenever I want, I just don't want to, said another. This is my choice. My family may not understand it, but it's mine. Sage opened her eyes then, saw me standing in the doorway. For a moment, something flickered in her expression, recognition, maybe even relief, but then her face hardened. Mom, what are you doing here? I came to bring you home. This is home, more than that house ever was. Sage, please, you've been here, what, a few hours? You can't possibly know. I've been talking to Aunt Holly for months, learning about this place, about this community. Tonight wasn't impulsive, it was planned. I've been waiting until I turned 18 so you couldn't stop me. Lucas stood up too, coming to stand next to his sister. United against me. Mom, I love you, but you've spent my whole life planning my future without asking what I actually want. I need time to figure out who I am separate from your expectations. So you're gonna do that here, in some compound with people you don't even know? I know Aunt Holly. I trust her. And everyone here has been more accepting in one night than anyone at home has been in my entire life. Marcus stepped between us. Annie, I can see this is painful for you. Why don't you stay? Attend the family orientation tomorrow. See what we're really about. Then, if you still want to leave and your children want to go with you, you all can leave together. What do you have to lose by staying one night? Everything in me screamed to grab my kids and run, but they were looking at me with something close to contempt, like I was the unreasonable one, the controlling one, the problem. One night, I said, but I'm not participating in any of your sessions or drinking your Kool-Aid. People laughed at the Kool-Aid comment like it was cute that I'd made such an obvious reference. Fair enough, Marcus said. Holly, can you show Annie to a guest room? Of course. Annie, you'll be comfortable here, I promise. As Holly led me to a small cabin across the grounds, I turned back to look at the main house. Through the windows, I could see Sage and Lucas being embraced by the group, smiling, laughing, looking happier than I'd seen them in months. And that's what terrified me most, because maybe they were happy. Maybe on some level, they'd wanted this, wanted an escape from their anxiety, their pressure, their complicated family.
And I'd been so busy being their mother that I'd never noticed I was pushing them away.
The cabin was simple but nice. A bed, a small bathroom, a window overlooking the property. Holly showed me where everything was, then paused at the door. Annie, I know you think I've done something terrible, but I really believe I've saved them from becoming as closed off and afraid as you are. Annie, this is a cult. Can't you see that? It's only a cult to people who are threatened by those of us who refuse to live small. Tomorrow, you'll see. You'll understand what we're building here. And who knows, maybe you'll want to stay too. Never. She smiled sadly. That's what I said once. Good night, Annie. Try to sleep. Tomorrow is going to be a big day. After she left, I tried the door. Unlocked. Tried the window. Also unlocked. I wasn't a prisoner, exactly, but I also wasn't leaving without my kids, and they'd made it clear they weren't coming. I sat on the bed and called Mark. It was almost 3 a.m., but he answered immediately. Annie? Thank God. Where are you? I'm at the sanctuary. I saw the kids. They've been completely manipulated. They think I'm the problem. Are they okay? Are they safe? Physically, yes. But Mark, this place, it's exactly what we were afraid of, and they don't want to leave. They're planning to stay. Can you get them out? Not without physically dragging them, and they're adults. They'd fight me, and honestly, they'd hate me for it. So what do we do? I don't know. They want me to stay for some orientation tomorrow, see what this place is really about. Maybe if I stay, if I see what they're seeing, I can figure out how to reach them. Or they'll manipulate you too. I'm not as vulnerable as Sage and Lucas. I'm not searching for anything. I know who I am. Annie, these groups are designed to break down exactly that certainty, to make you doubt everything you know. Please, just get out of there. We'll hire a deprogrammer, get professionals involved. They won't talk to a deprogrammer. They barely want to talk to me. Mark, I have to try this my way. He sighed. Okay, but I'm flying out first thing in the morning. I'll be there by noon, and if you're not out by then, I'm calling every authority I can find. Okay. After we hung up, I tried to sleep, but couldn't. Every sound from outside made me jump. Footsteps on gravel, voices in the distance. Was someone watching my cabin? Were they doing something to my kids right now? Around 5 a.m., I heard singing. I went to the window and saw a group of people gathered in the meditation pavilion as the sun rose, their voices lifting in some kind of chant or hymn. Sage and Lucas were among them. Even from a distance, I could see they were smiling, swaying, part of something. And I was outside of it, outside of their new world, the enemy. At 7 a.m., someone knocked on my cabin door. I opened it to find a young woman holding a tray of food. Good morning. I'm Willow. I brought you breakfast. The family orientation starts at 9 in the main house. Marcus is looking forward to speaking with you. I'm not family. She smiled, that same peaceful smile they all had. Everyone's family here. That's the whole point. After she left, I examined the food. Fruit, granola, tea, looking for signs it was drugged, which was paranoid, but I didn't care. I didn't eat any of it. At 8:45, Holly came to walk me to the main house. Did you sleep? No. That's the fear. It keeps you awake, keeps you vigilant. But what if you didn't have to be afraid all the time? What if you could just trust? Trust a group that's recruited my children? Never. Annie, they're not recruited. They're awakened. There's a difference. We entered the main house. About 30 people were gathered in the large room, sitting in a circle. Sage and Lucas were there, looking refreshed despite the early morning singing. They didn't acknowledge me as I sat down. Marcus stood in the center. Welcome, everyone. to our weekly family orientation. Today, we have someone special with us, Annie, sister to our beloved Holly, mother to Sage and Lucas. Annie has come seeking understanding. Let's hold space for her with love and openness. Love and openness, everyone repeated, and the orientation began. Marcus talked about the sanctuary's principles: authentic living, releasing societal programming, building chosen family, creating sustainable community. It all sounded reasonable, beautiful even. Then he talked about the levels of consciousness, how most people lived at level 1, asleep, controlled by fear, trapped in the illusion of separation. How the sanctuary helped people ascend to higher levels, awakened, connected, free. But to ascend, you must first descend. You must go into your darkness, your pain, your deepest wounds. You must face everything you've been running from. And that's where growth happens. That's where transformation occurs. He invited people to share their transformation stories. One by one, they stood and testified about leaving abusive marriages, escaping corporate jobs that were killing their souls, finding freedom from addiction. Every story ended the same way. And then I found the sanctuary, and I found myself. It was powerful, moving even. I could see why people fell for it. Then Marcus turned to me. Annie, would you like to share about what brought you here? I'm here for my kids. That's all. But there's more, isn't there? Holly has told us about your divorce, about your struggles with control, about your fear of being alone. This is a safe space to explore those wounds. My personal life is none of your business. Everything is our business here. We hold nothing back. Radical honesty, remember? How can we grow if we hide? I'm not interested in growing. I'm interested in leaving with my kids. Marcus sighed like I was a stubborn student. Sage, Lucas, do you want to leave with your mother? No, they said in unison. Then it seems we're at an impasse. Annie won't respect her children's autonomy, and they won't submit to her control. This isn't control. This is concern. You've manipulated them. Or maybe you've manipulated them their entire lives, and now they're finally breaking free. The room murmured agreement. I stood up. Sage, Lucas, you have one more chance. Come with me now, or I'm calling every authority I can find. Deprogrammers, the police, the media. I will make this place famous in ways you won't like. Marcus's expression hardened for the first time. Threats, Annie? That's your response when you can't control the situation? It's not a threat. It's a promise. Then let me make a promise to you. If you try to interfere with our community, if you bring authorities or media or any outside force, you will be the one who looks unstable. We have documentation of your controlling behavior, your refusal to respect your adult children's choices, your harassment of our peaceful community. We'll paint a picture of a desperate woman who can't accept that her children don't need her anymore. You can't. We can. And we will. Now, you can leave peacefully, or we can call the sheriff and have you removed for trespassing. Your choice. I looked at Sage and Lucas. Please, please come with me. Lucas looked away. Sage just shook her head. And I knew I'd lost them, at least for now. Fine, I said. I'm leaving, but this isn't over. I walked out of that room, out of that beautiful building, into the morning sunlight, got in my car and drove back down that winding road through the gate that locked behind me. I'd failed. Completely failed. But I'd also seen something in Marcus's eyes when I threatened to expose them. Something that wasn't peaceful or enlightened. It was calculation, malice even. This wasn't just a group of misguided seekers. This was something darker, and my children were trapped in it. I was 2 miles down the mountain road when my phone rang, a number I didn't recognize. Hello? Annie? It's Willow, the girl who brought you breakfast. I'm calling from a burner phone. I need to talk to you, alone, away from the sanctuary. Please. Why? What's wrong? Everything. Everything is wrong. And if you want to save your kids, you need to know what Marcus is really planning. What is he planning? I can't tell you over the phone. Meet me at the diner in Redmond in an hour. Come alone. If anyone from the sanctuary sees us together, we're both in danger. Danger? What do you mean? But she'd already hung up. I sat in my car outside the Redmond diner for 15 minutes before Willow arrived. She pulled up in an old Honda, looking around nervously before getting out. In daylight, away from the sanctuary, she looked younger than I'd thought, maybe 22 with hollow eyes and bitten fingernails. She slid into the booth across from me, ordered coffee she didn't drink, and spoke in a low, urgent voice. I have maybe an hour before someone notices I'm gone. They track our movements, our time. They call it accountability, but it's control. Tell me what's really going on there. How much do you know about Marcus? His real history? Nothing. Just what I saw last night. Willow pulled out her phone, the burner, not whatever device the sanctuary gave her, and showed me a news article from 7 years ago. A photo of Marcus, but with a different name. Martin Schultz. The headline read, "Spiritual leader questioned in member's death at Arizona wellness retreat." My blood ran cold. He killed someone? The case was dismissed, ruled accidental. A woman died during what Marcus called an ego death ceremony, basically a dangerous combination of fasting, sleep deprivation, and psychedelics. She had a heart attack. Marcus claimed she had hidden a pre-existing condition, that the family was trying to blame him for her poor health. But you don't believe that? I was there. I was at that retreat. I was 17, brought by my mother who was desperate to fix our relationship. I watched that woman die, Annie, and it wasn't an accident. Marcus pushed her too far, kept telling her she needed to go deeper, surrender more, that her resistance was her ego protecting itself. She was crying, begging to stop, and he told the group to hold her down, to help her break through. Oh my God. After she died, everything fell apart. Some members went to the police, but Marcus was careful. Nothing provably illegal. No drugs in her system. He made sure they'd all been metabolized. Just a woman with a weak heart who made poor choices. That's the story he sold. What happened to the retreat? Closed down. But Marcus is smart. He waited a few years, changed his name slightly, moved to a different state, started fresh with the sanctuary. And he's more careful now, more calculated. Why are you still there if you know all this? Willow's eyes filled with tears. Because my mom is there. She wouldn't leave Arizona with me, said I was too young to understand what Marcus was really doing. Then 6 months ago, she showed up here, said Marcus had invited the core members from Arizona to help him build something bigger. I followed her here, thinking I could convince her to leave. Instead, I got pulled in deeper. But can't you just leave? Marcus said everyone's free to go. Technically, yes, but they make it impossible. First, they convince you to cut ties with outside family and friends, anyone who might contaminate your growth. Then they take your money. You donate everything to the community. You give up your phone, your car, your independence. By the time you realize you want to leave, you have nothing, nowhere to go, and they've convinced you that the world outside is dangerous, that you'll never survive without the community. But you still have this phone. You're talking to me. I've been planning my escape for months, saving money from the farmer's market where some of us sell produce, hiding this phone, pretending to be more committed than I am. But Annie, I can't leave without my mom. And lately, she swallowed hard. Lately, Marcus has been talking about an ascension event, something big. He says we're ready to move to the next level of consciousness. What does that mean? I don't know exactly, but I'm not senior enough to be invited. But I overheard Marcus talking to his inner circle. He said this group has the highest potential for transformation, that they're ready to shed their old selves completely. Annie, the woman who died in Arizona, she died during a similar intensive. I have to get them out, today, right now. You can't. Security has been increased since you left this morning. Marcus told everyone you might try something desperate, that you're unstable and dangerous. They're watching for you. Then what do I do? There might be a way. Tomorrow night, they're doing a community ceremony. Everyone except for the intensive group will be there. It's basically a recruitment event for new potential members. The intensive group will be in the separate building with just a few facilitators. If you could get to them then, when everyone else is distracted, how would I even get on the property? There's a back entrance, an old logging road. I can show you where, and I have a key to the intensive building. I clean there sometimes. But Annie, you need to understand something. If Marcus finds out I helped you, if anyone sees us together, he'll destroy me. He has files on everyone, recordings of our most vulnerable moments from therapy sessions, confessions we've made, things we've done that we're ashamed of. He'll use all of it against me, against anyone who threatens him. I won't let him hurt you. I promise. You can't promise that. But I have to try anyway, for my mom, for your kids, for everyone who's still in there thinking this is about love and growth when it's really about Marcus's ego and control. We spent the next hour planning. Willow drew a map of the property showing me the back entrance, the intensive building, the ceremony location. She gave me the key and told me the security code for that building, 2255, different from the main gate. Tomorrow night at 8 o'clock, the ceremony starts. Give it 30 minutes to make sure everyone's committed to it. Then go in. The intensive group will be in session, probably some kind of meditation or breath work. Get your kids out fast. Don't try to convince them, just get them physically out of there. Once they're away from the compound, away from Marcus's influence, you'll have a chance to actually reach them. What about the others in that group? You can't save everyone, Annie. Focus on your kids. What about you and your mom? I'll use the chaos to get my mom out. If you can create enough disruption, I can maybe convince her to come with me. It's our only chance. She stood to leave, then paused. Annie, I need to tell you something else. Your sister, Holly, she's one of Marcus's lieutenants now, part of his inner circle. She helped him plan the intensive program. Whatever happens, Holly is not on your side. She's fully committed to him. I know. No, I mean, she's different than you think. The things I've heard her say about you, about your kids, about what Marcus needs to do to free them from your influence, Annie, she's not the sister you remember. This place changes people, and she's been changed completely. After Willow left, I sat in that diner booth for a long time, trying to process everything. Then I called Mark. I know how to get them out, tomorrow night. But Mark, this is more serious than we thought. The leader, Marcus, he had someone die at his last place. He's dangerous. Then we call the FBI, Cult Task Force, something. With what evidence? A dismissed case from 7 years ago? Willow's testimony, which she can't give publicly without being destroyed. They won't move that fast. And the intensive starts tomorrow. We don't have time. Annie, what you're describing is breaking and entering, possibly kidnapping if the kids resist. You could go to jail. Better than letting them die. You don't know that they're in danger. Yes, I do. I feel it. Mark, I'm getting our children out tomorrow night. You can help me or not, but I'm doing it. He was quiet for a long moment. Where should I meet you? I spent that day and night preparing, bought bolt cutters in case locks were different than Willow said, bought a burner phone for each kid so we could contact them if we got separated, bought supplies for a quick escape, water, snacks, blankets. Mark arrived at noon the next day. We met at a motel outside Redmond, went over the plan a dozen times. What if they fight us, he asked. What if they scream, alert the guards? Then we carry them out. They're our kids, Mark. I'll do whatever it takes. And Holly, if she tries to stop us? I thought about my sister, about the woman who'd braided my hair as a child, who'd been my maid of honor, who I'd trusted with my children. Then I'll go through her too. We waited until dark. At 7:45, we parked a mile from the logging road entrance Willow had marked on the map, hiked in through the woods, following GPS coordinates on my phone. The back entrance was exactly where she said, an old fire road, overgrown but passable. No gate, no security. We made our way through the dark woods toward the lights of the compound. At 8:30, we heard it, singing from the main building. The ceremony had started. We could see people through the windows all gathered in that main room swaying to music, hands raised. The intensive building was on the opposite side of the property, a converted barn set back from the other structures. 2 stories with small windows and one main entrance. A single guard sat outside, but he was watching his phone, not the surroundings. How do we get past him? Mark whispered. We wait. Willow said they rotate every hour. Maybe the next one will be less attentive. We crouched in the trees, watching. At 9, a woman came to relieve the guard. They talked for a few minutes. We were too far away to hear what about, and then she settled into the chair. But she didn't look at her phone. She sat alert, scanning the area. This isn't working, Mark said. We need a distraction. Like what? Like a fire. Small one, controlled on the other side of the property. She'll have to go check it out, and we slip in. That's dangerous. More dangerous than whatever's happening to our kids in there? He was right. We circled around, found an old shed near the garden. Mark used a lighter to ignite some dry grass next to it. Not the building itself, just enough to create smoke and alarm. We watched the guard's radio crackle. She stood up, spoke into it, then jogged toward the smoke. We ran for the intensive building. I punched in the code, 2255. The door clicked open. Inside, it was dimly lit. We could hear voices from upstairs, chanting or humming. I led the way up a narrow staircase, Mark behind me. The second floor was one large open room, and there they were, Sage, Lucas, and about 15 others, all lying on mats, eyes closed, while someone was leading them through some kind of guided meditation. Breathe deeper, let go of your names, your histories, your attachments. You are not who you were. You are becoming who you always meant to be. Sage? Lucas? I spoke quietly, but several people's eyes snapped open. The woman leading the session stood up. You can't be here. This is the sacred space. I'm taking my children home. They don't want to go home. They've chosen to be here. I walked to where Sage was lying, touched her shoulder. Her eyes opened slowly, unfocused. Mom? We're leaving, now, both of you. No! Sage sat up, but her movements were sluggish. No, I'm in the middle of my process. I can't stop now. Marcus said stopping before the breakthrough would be dangerous. Marcus is dangerous. Sage, please, trust me. We can talk about all of this later, but right now we need to go. Lucas sat up too. He looked worse than Sage. Pale, shaking slightly. How long have we been here? What day is it? You've been here about 24 hours. Lucas, are you okay? I feel weird. We haven't eaten since yesterday. Marcus said fasting opens the mind. The woman who had been leading the session was on her radio. Security to intensive building. We have an intruder. We're leaving now, Mark said, helping Lucas to the feet. Both of you, we're going. Other people in the room were sitting up now, looking confused or angry. One man stood between us and the door. You can't take them. They're in a vulnerable state. Moving them now could cause psychological damage. Get out of my way, I said. I can't do that. Mark stepped forward. Move or I move you. The man backed down, but I could hear footsteps on the stairs, security coming. We were almost to the door when it burst open. 3 men in black shirts, the security team, and behind them, Holly. "Annie, what are you doing?" she said. You're traumatizing them. Can't you see they're in a fragile state? I'm getting them out of here, out of your cult. It's not a cult. Why can't you see that we're helping them? The way Marcus helped that woman in Arizona, the one who died during his intensive process? Holly's face went white. That was different. That was an accident, and she had underlying health issues that he pushed her into regardless. Holly, please, you're my sister. Somewhere inside you, you have to know this is wrong. For just a moment, I saw something flicker in her eyes. Doubt, fear. But then Marcus's voice came from behind her. That's enough, Annie. He walked through the security team, calm and controlled. You've broken into our property. You're attempting to kidnap adults against their will. I've called the sheriff. You can leave now peacefully, or you can be arrested for trespassing and attempted kidnapping. Sage and Lucas want to lead with us. Do you? Marcus looked at them directly. Do you want to leave with your parents? Sage was crying. I don't know. I'm confused. I just want this to stop. See? Marcus said gently. You've confused them, disrupted their process. This is exactly what I warned them about. Your need to control, your inability to let them grow. Enough. Mark's voice was hard. We're leaving with our kids now. He moved toward the door, Lucas leaning on him. I grabbed Sage's hand, tried to pull her with me. That's when Holly stepped forward and grabbed Sage's other arm. She's not going with you. Let her go, Holly. No. I won't let you destroy her growth, not when she's so close to breakthrough. We stood there, my sister and I, both holding my daughter, both believing we were saving her. Holly, please. You never understood me, Annie. Never understood that there's more to life than your safe, boring existence. I'm giving Sage and Lucas what you never could. Freedom, purpose, truth. You're giving them manipulation and lies. Let her go. Marcus's voice was quiet but commanding. What? Holly looked at him, confused. Let her go. If Annie wants to take her children, let her. They'll come back. Once they're away from her controlling energy, once they remember what they've discovered here, they'll come back. They always do. Something in his tone made my skin crawl. The certainty of it. The implication that he'd done this before, seen this before. Holly released Sage's arm. She's not going with you. But go ahead. Take them. Watch them become miserable again in your small, fearful world. When they come back to us, and they will, don't say I didn't warn you. We backed toward the door, Sage and Lucas both moving like they were in a dream. The security team parted to let us through, which should have felt like a victory, but instead felt like a trap. We were halfway down the stairs when I heard it. A woman screamed from somewhere in the main building, then shouts, confusion. Fire! Someone yelled. The main building is on fire. Mark's controlled burn by the shed. It must have spread. People started running from the ceremony, panicked, streaming out of the main building. We used the chaos to get Sage and Lucas to the woods, to the logging road, to where we'd parked. But as we drove away, I looked back and saw flames. Real flames, bigger than what Mark had set. The main building was actually on fire, and people were still inside. We have to go back, I said. People could be trapped. We can't, Mark said. We have to get Sage and Lucas somewhere safe. In the back seat, both kids were crying. Sage kept saying, "This is wrong. This feels wrong. Why does this feel wrong?" My phone rang. Unknown number. I answered. Annie?
It was Willow. She was crying, her voice panicked. "Oh God, Annie, something terrible happened. The fire, it wasn't just the shed. Someone set fire to the main building during the ceremony. People are trapped. And my mom, Annie, I can't find my mom. Willow, get out of there. Get away from the compound. You don't understand. Marcus is saying you did it. He's telling everyone that you set the fire to destroy us because you hate the community. The police are coming and he's going to tell them it's you. I didn't set fire to the main building. Mark only lit some grass by the shed. It doesn't matter what's true. Marcus has already created the narrative. And Annie," she was sobbing now, "there's a body. Someone died in the fire, and Marcus is saying it's your fault." The line went dead. I sat there, the phone in my shaking hand, watching my traumatized children cry in the motel room, knowing that somewhere back at that compound, someone was dead, and somehow I was going to be blamed for it. The police arrived at our motel at 3 a.m. 2 detectives, both looking grim. "Mrs. Andy Garrett, we need you to come with us. We have questions about the fire at the sanctuary compound." Mark stepped forward. "She needs a lawyer present. She's not under arrest yet, but someone died in that fire, and we have witnesses saying she threatened the community earlier today. We need her statement." I went with them, leaving Mark with Sage and Lucas. At the station, they put me in an interview room that smelled like stale coffee and fear. Detective Chin sat across from me. "Tell me about your relationship with the sanctuary." I told them everything. About Holly recruiting my kids, about my visit to get them back, about Marcus's history in Arizona, about Willow's warnings, about the controlled burn by the shed to create a distraction. "So you admit to setting a fire on the property?" "A small fire. Grass next to an empty shed to draw the guard away so we could get our kids. But someone else set fire to the main building. We were nowhere near it." "Witnesses say they saw you on the property around the time the main building caught fire. We were in the intensive building, getting our children. Ask the people who were there. They saw us." "We're trying to, but most of the community evacuated, and the person who died can't ask her anything." My stomach dropped. "Her? Who died?" "That's what we're trying to determine. The body was badly burned. We'll need dental record for identification. But Mrs. Garrett, I need to be straight with you. The fire marshal's initial assessment is that the main building fire was deliberately set. Accelerant was used. This wasn't an accident." "I didn't do that. Why would I burn down a building full of people? I was trying to save my kids, not kill anyone." "The leader, Marcus Reeves, says you threatened to destroy the community earlier today, that you were unstable, dangerous. He has recordings." "Recordings of what?" "Your interactions on the property. Apparently, they record all interactions for growth and learning purposes. He's provided us with audio of you making threats."
I said I'd expose them. That's not the same as... I stopped. "Wait, can I hear these recordings?" Chin pulled out his phone and played an audio file. My voice from that morning's orientation. "I will make this place famous in ways you won't like." Then Marcus. "Threats, Annie? That's your response when you can't control the situation?" Me. "It's not a threat, it's a promise." The recording cut off there. But I remembered what came next. Marcus threatening to paint me as unstable. That part wasn't included. He edited it. That's taken out of context. I was saying I'd call authorities, media, not that I'd burn anything down. Can you prove that? Can he prove I set the fire? "We're working on it. In the meantime, don't leave town. We'll have more questions." They released me at dawn. Mark was waiting in the parking lot with a lawyer he'd called, Susan Chen, no relation to the detective, who specialized in criminal defense. "Don't say anything else to anyone without me present. And Annie, I need you to understand how serious this is. If they can prove you set that fire, you're looking at arson and manslaughter charges, possibly murder if they can show intent." "I didn't set the fire." "I believe you.
But belief isn't evidence. We need to prove someone else did it. Back at the motel, Sage and Lucas were awake, watching news coverage on TV. The sanctuary fire with the lead story. Cult compound destroyed in suspicious blaze. One person confirmed dead, several others injured. Leader Marcus Reeves claims the fire was set by a disgruntled mother trying to force her adult children to leave the community. Sage looked at me with horror. Mom, they're saying you killed someone. I didn't. I swear to you, I didn't. But you set the other fire by the shed. We heard you and Dad talking about it in the car. That was a distraction, a tiny fire that we controlled. Someone else burned down the main building. Marcus says it was you, Lucas said quietly. He was staring at the TV like he was in a trance. Marcus says you were consumed by fear and hatred, that you couldn't accept our choice, that you tried to destroy everyone because you couldn't control us. Lucas, no! Marcus is manipulating you. How do you know? How do you know you're not manipulating us? He looked at me with eyes that seemed much older than 19. You forced us to leave, dragged us out of there. What if we were safe and you put us in danger? What if you're the dangerous one? The words cut deeper than any accusation from the police. I'm your mother. I was trying to save you. From what? From people who accepted us? From a community where we finally felt like we belonged? Sage was crying now. I don't know what to believe anymore. Part of me knows something was wrong there, but part of me feels like you ripped us away from something important. And now someone's dead and you might have killed them. I didn't. But you can't prove that, can you? She was right. I couldn't. My phone rang. Unknown number again. I almost didn't answer, but something made me pick up. Annie, it's Willow. Please, I need to see you. I know who set the fire. I know who died, and I think I know why. We met at a truck stop an hour outside Redmond. Willow looked like she'd aged 10 years overnight, exhausted, terrified, hollow. My mom is alive. She got out. But Annie, the person who died in the fire was Holly. The world tilted. What?
They identified her from dental records this morning. She was in the main building when it went up. They think she was trying to get people out and got trapped. I couldn't breathe. My sister. My wild, searching, impossible sister. Dead. Are they sure? Positive. I'm so sorry, Annie. I sat there in the truck stop booth, trying to process that Holly was gone, that I'd never see her again, never have the chance to save her, never... There's more, Willow said. I need to tell you something about the fire, about what really happened. She pulled out her phone, still the burner, and showed me a video. Security footage from one of the sanctuary's cameras, time-stamped from the night before. In the video, Marcus stood outside the main building during the ceremony. He was holding what looked like a gas can. He poured liquid around the base of the building, then used a lighter to ignite it. Oh my God! He set the fire himself. I found this footage on the security server. I had access because I did IT work sometimes. Marcus didn't know I had the password. But why? Why would he burn down his own building? Because you were going to expose him. Because the Arizona story was going to come out. Because he knew his control was slipping. Willow's voice shook. This is what he does, Annie. When things start to fall apart, he burns it all down and starts over somewhere else. He's done it before, not just Arizona. I found records of 2 other communities. Both ended in mysterious fires. He collects the insurance money, disappears for a while, then resurfaces with a new name and a new group. But Holly died, his own follower. I don't think he meant for anyone to die. I think he planned it for after the ceremony, when the building would be empty. But Holly went back inside for something, maybe to get files or money, I don't know what. She got trapped. And now he's blaming me. Because it's perfect for him.
The unstable mother, the threats you made, the small fire you actually did set. He can paint you as the villain, play the victim, and no one will look at him. We have to show this to the police. I know, but Annie, once I do, Marcus will know I betrayed him. He'll destroy me. He has so much on me. Confessions I made in therapy sessions, things I did when I first joined that I'm not proud of. He records everything, keeps files on everyone. He'll make sure I go down with him. I'll protect you. I'll make sure they know you're a witness, not an accomplice. You can't promise that. But she took a shaky breath. I'm doing it anyway. Because Holly didn't deserve to die. Because your kids don't deserve to have their mom arrested for something she didn't do. Because this has to stop. We went to the police station together. Susan Chen met us there. We showed Detective Chen the video. He watched it 3 times in silence. Then he said, "Where did you get this?" "From the sanctuary's own security system," Willow said. "I was part of the community. I had access to the servers." "Is this the only copy?" "No. I uploaded it to cloud storage under an anonymous account. If anything happens to me, it gets sent to every news outlet in the state." Smart girl. "I need to bring Marcus in for questioning, Sen. But this doesn't completely clear your client, Miss Chen. She still set a fire on the property. A minor fire, far from any structures, that was extinguished without incident. Meanwhile, the man who's been accusing my client is on video committing arson and manslaughter. I think you know where your focus should be." He nodded slowly. "Don't leave town, Mrs. Garrett, but consider yourself no longer a primary suspect." Marcus was arrested later that day. The news coverage shifted immediately from mother sets fire to cult compound to cult leader burns own building to hide evidence. The sanctuary community fractured. Some members insisted Marcus was being framed, that the video was fake. Others started coming forward with their own stories of manipulation, financial abuse, psychological control. The media circus was intense. Every outlet wanted interviews. My face was plastered across local news. The mother who exposed a dangerous cult. It didn't feel like victory. It felt like exposure, like being flayed open for public consumption. But the worst part was Sage and Lucas. They'd watched the video, seen the proof that Marcus had set the fire, heard the evidence about his pattern of behavior, his history of destructive control. And instead of relief, they seemed lost. "I don't understand," Sage said, sitting in our motel room 3 days after Marcus's arrest. "If he was manipulating us, why did it feel so real? Why did I feel so happy there?" Because manipulation can feel like love, especially when someone tells you exactly what you want to hear. But I did feel free there. I did feel like I belonged. Maybe you felt free from some things, but Sage, you weren't free. You were being controlled, just in a way that felt like liberation. She started crying. "I feel so stupid. How did I fall for it?" "You're not stupid. You're young and searching and vulnerable. That's exactly who people like Marcus target." Lucas had been quieter. He'd barely spoken since the arrest, but now he said, "Aunt Holly died trying to save people, didn't she? The news said she was getting people out when the fire trapped her." "That's what it looks like, yes." "So even though she was part of it, even though she recruited us, she was still trying to do the right thing at the end?" "Maybe. Or maybe she was trying to save Marcus's files, his money. We'll never know." "I want to know," Lucas said fiercely. "I want to know if she actually loved us, or if we were just recruits to her, just numbers." I thought about Holly, about our childhood, our bond, the way she'd looked at me in that intensive building with contempt and certainty. I think she believed she was helping you. I think she was so deep in Marcus's control that she genuinely thought the sanctuary was saving you, not harming you. That doesn't make what she did right, but it might mean her intentions weren't entirely selfish.
but we'll never know for sure. No, we won't. The funeral was small. Holly's ex-husband Greg came, looking shell-shocked. A few of Holly's old friends from before the sanctuary. Some community members who'd left after Marcus's arrest. And us. Me, Mark, Sage, Lucas. A broken family burying the peace that had broken us. At the service, Greg pulled me aside. I knew something was wrong. When she joined that place, when she started talking in circles and cutting off friends, I tried to warn her, but she said I was stuck in my ego, that I couldn't understand enlightenment. I should have tried harder. She wouldn't have listened. Once they have you, they have you. Will the kids be okay? I looked at Sage and Lucas, standing by Holly's casket, both crying. I don't know. I hope so. The deep programming specialist we hired, Dr. Monica Torres, was frank about their chances. Recovery from cult involvement is a long process. They'll need therapy, support, patience. Some days they'll seem fine. Other days they'll defend Marcus, miss the community, question whether leaving was right. That's normal. The psychological manipulation doesn't just disappear because the cult leader gets arrested. How long until they're themselves again? That's the wrong question. They'll never be exactly who they were before. This experience will change them. The question is whether it changes them in ways they can integrate and grow from, or ways that traumatize them permanently. We started therapy, individually and as a family. Sage talked about how the sanctuary had made her feel accepted for the first time, how leaving felt like losing not just a community, but an identity. Lucas talked about the guilt of being relieved Holly was dead instead of sad.
Is that terrible? He asked Dr. Torres. That part of me is glad she's gone because it means she can't recruit anyone else? It's honest, Dr. Torres said, and honesty is where healing begins. Marcus's trial was set for 6 months out. He was charged with arson, manslaughter, fraud, and a dozen other counts. Willow agreed to testify. So did I. So did several other former members who'd been found and were willing to talk. His lawyer tried to paint him as a well-meaning spiritual leader whose community was tragically destroyed by an unstable woman's vendetta. But the video evidence, the Arizona case, the other fires, it all painted a different picture. During a pretrial hearing, I saw him for the first time since the night of the fire. He looked smaller somehow, diminished. When our eyes met across the courtroom, he smiled, that same gentle, knowing smile. It made my skin crawl. He still thinks he'll get away with it, Susan said. He still thinks he can charm his way through this. Will he? Not if I can help it. Willow struggled after turning over the evidence. The files Marcus had on her were leaked online. Sessions where she talked about shoplifting as a teenager, about cutting herself, about hating her mother. She was eviscerated on social media, but she survived. Got a job at a tech company doing security work, started a blog about cult recovery, turned her pain into purpose. I can't change what happened, she told me when we met for coffee 6 months after the fire, but I can make sure other people recognize the warning signs, that other Willows out there know they're not alone. You saved my kids. I'll never be able to thank you enough. You gave me the courage to leave, to save my mom. We're even. Mark and I started talking more, not about reconciliation, that ship had sailed, but about co-parenting through crisis, about how to support Sage and Lucas without hovering, without controlling, without becoming the thing they'd run from in the first place. I think we pushed them too hard,
Mark said one night over coffee. I think we were so focused on their future that we forgot about their present. Maybe. Or maybe they were just vulnerable in exactly the way Marcus needed them to be. Maybe there's no preventing it, no perfect parenting that would have saved them. That's a terrifying thought. Yeah, but also freeing. We can't control everything. We can just love them and be there when they need us. Sage decided to defer college for a year. She got a job at a coffee shop, started painting again, worked with Dr. Torres twice a week. Some days she was angry at me for rescuing her. Other days she thanked me. I'm learning to hold both truths, she told me when I met for coffee 6 months after the fire, that I'm grateful you got me out and also resentful that you made that choice for me. Both things can be true. Mark went back to college but changed his major from engineering to psychology. He wants to understand what happened to us, why we fell for it. Maybe help other people who've been through similar things. 1 year after the fire, we scattered Holly's ashes in the ocean. She'd always loved the water, always talked about wanting to be free. Do you think she's at peace now? Sage asked, watching the ashes drift across the waves. I think peace was what she was always searching for, I said. Maybe she found it. Or maybe peace isn't something you find, it's something you make. We stood on that beach, the four of us, as the sun set. A family that had broken and was slowly, painfully, putting itself back together. Not the same way as before. Some pieces were missing, some were rearranged, but we were together. And for now, that was enough. It's been 2.5 years since that night at the sanctuary. 2.5 years since I drove into the mountains to rescue my children and came back having lost my sister. Marcus was convicted on all counts. He's serving 25 years for manslaughter, arson, fraud, and a dozen other counts spanning 3 states and 15 years. At his sentencing, he maintained he was a victim of persecution, that his only crime was offering people an alternative to society's soul-crushing conformity.
The judge wasn't sympathetic. You preyed on vulnerable people, she told him. You exploited their pain, took their money, and when your scheme started to unravel, you burned it all down. That you killed one of your own devoted followers in the process speaks to your complete disregard for human life. I attended every day of the trial, watched him perform for the jury, the gentle spiritualist, the misunderstood teacher. Watched the prosecution dismantle him piece by piece with evidence, testimony, and the damning video of him setting that fire. When the guilty verdict was read, I felt nothing. Not relief, not vindication, just emptiness where my sister used to be. Sage graduated from community college last month with an associate's degree in art therapy. She wants to work with trauma survivors, help people process pain through creative expression. She still has hard days, moments when she misses the feeling of belonging she had at the sanctuary, even knowing it was manufactured. I'm learning that missing something doesn't mean it was good for me, she told me recently. I can acknowledge what I lost without wanting it back. She's wiser than I was at 21, than I am now, maybe. Lucas is finishing his psychology degree at the State University. He's working with Dr. Torres on a research project about cult recruitment patterns. He wants to understand not just why people join, but why some people leave and others don't. Aunt Holly could have left. She had resources, family who loved her, a whole life outside the sanctuary. But she stayed. Why? I've thought about that question countless times. Why did Holly stay when others left?
Why did she recruit us, her own family, into something that ultimately killed her? The answer, I think, is that she needed it to be real. She'd spent her whole life searching for meaning, for belonging, for proof that she was special. Marcus gave her that, a purpose, a role, a belief system that made her feel chosen. Walking away would have meant admitting she'd been fooled, that she'd wasted years, money, relationships on a lie. So she stayed, and she pulled others in, because their belief reinforced hers. If she could convince me, convince my kids, convince strangers that the sanctuary was enlightenment instead of exploitation, then it had to be true. She died believing she was saving people. I've made peace with that. Or I'm trying to. Mark and I finalized our divorce, but we're better co-parents now than we were as spouses. Crisis forced us to actually communicate, to be honest about our fears and failures. We have dinner together once a month, the four of us, keeping family traditions alive in new forms. I still see Dr. Torres, too, working through my own patterns, the controlling behavior Marcus exploited, the fear that drove me to make decisions for my kids instead of with them. Learning that loving someone doesn't mean protecting them from every hard thing. Sometimes it means letting them fall, then being there when they need help getting up. You save them, Dr. Torres told me in our last session. But Annie, you also have to let them save themselves. Recovery is their journey, not yours. She's right. I can't rescue them from the psychological aftermath any more than I could prevent the initial recruitment. I can only be present, honest, available. Willow and I stay in touch. She's engaged now, working at a tech security firm, thriving. She still has nightmares about the fire, still flinches at the word community. But she's building a life that's genuinely hers, not scripted by a manipulator, not performed for approval. Do you regret turning over the evidence? I asked her once, after everything it cost you. She said, every day, and I do it again every day too. Both things are true. The sanctuary property sold at auction. A developer bought it, plans to turn it into luxury cabins. Every trace of what happened there will be erased, paved over, made pretty for tourists. Maybe that's for the best. Or maybe we need reminders that beautiful places can hide ugly truths, that charisma can mask malice, that people we love can become people we don't recognize. I think about Holly often, not the woman she became at the end, zealous, manipulated, dangerous, but the girl she was. My sister, who taught me to braid hair and catch fireflies, who believed in magic and possibilities, who was always searching for something just beyond reach. She never found what she was looking for, or maybe she did, and it destroyed her. Last week, Sage showed me a painting she'd done. It was abstract, 2 figures, intertwined but distinct, in shades of green and gold, beautiful and painful at once. It's you and Aunt Holly, she said, how you were connected but separate, how love can exist alongside hurt, how people can be both victims and perpetrators, both lost and searching. It's beautiful. I'm donating it to the Cult Awareness Center. They're doing an exhibit on recovery. Dr. Torres thought my work might help other people feel less alone. I hugged her, this remarkable young woman who'd survived something that could have destroyed her and chose to transform it into art instead. That's the real ending, I think. Not Marcus in prison or the sanctuary in ashes, but my kids becoming people who can hold complexity, who can acknowledge they were manipulated without being ashamed, who can take their pain and make something meaningful from it. I couldn't protect them from being hurt, but I taught them, or maybe they taught me, that survival isn't about avoiding pain. It's about what you do with it afterwards. Holly used her pain to recruit others into her delusion. Sage and Lucas are using theirs to heal and help. And me? I'm learning to live with uncertainty, to accept that some questions don't have answers, to forgive myself for the ways I failed while acknowledging the ways I succeeded. My kids are safe, damaged but healing, lost but finding their way. That's not the fairy tale ending, but it's an honest one. And after everything we've been through, honesty is the only thing that matters. The sun is setting outside my window now, painting the sky in shades of orange and pink. Somewhere, Sage is creating, Lucas is studying, Mark is probably worrying about them both. And I'm here, remembering my sister, missing her, angry at her, grateful for the lessons her death taught us about the cost of blind faith. She wanted to be free. In the end, she got her wish, just not the way any of us imagined. May she rest in peace. May we all find it, eventually, in our own complicated ways.